Tristan, there are some people that can eat whatever they want and play great. I'm not one of those people, right? So I personally feel that what I eat influences, to some degree, the quality at which I perform. That being said, there's a strength coach. His name is Charles Poliquin. He's got more gold medals than any other strength coach of all time. He died a couple years back. But he talks about prisoners. He says prisoners, they have poor diet, right? The quality of food in prison is poor. And he says they get poor sleep because usually their roommates are, not nice. So, they're scared that their roommate's going to kill them in their sleep. So even with poor sleep and poor diet, they still have world-class physiques. So that's why he says training is the most important thing. And I think this is a beautiful mindset to get into as you're growing older, because you could recognize, you hear someone complain about, either in conversation or conversation you overhear, they'll say, oh, well, complain this, and they're going to use this as an excuse. I think if you start to develop the resilience and internal kind of the mental toughness to say, no matter, there's going to be times when maybe you're at a tournament and it's not ideal eating, or you get to somewhere late at night, you arrive late at night, and maybe you have to have a meal that's, maybe you have to eat pizza or something where it's not your ideal meal, yet you have to perform. I think the more that you train yourself to be able to perform, no matter whether you have food or not, right? So a gratitude for food if you have it, and being able to perform if you have nothing, I think that's a measure of like a great, someone who's due for greatness, someone who doesn't complain about, not to say you don't have preferences, but just to develop this mental resilience to say, okay, I don't care what I eat, I'm still gonna, play like a beast on the field. That same coach, Charles Poliquin, he says that despite these prisoners having poor diets, poor sleep, and having world-class physiques, he himself invests in his own breakfast, and that he attributes his own big breakfast to one of the reasons why he's so successful. He says that every meal he tries to eat a wild meat, local fruit, and some healthy fats like some nuts and some avocados. That's every single breakfast, right? So you wake up, hydrate, maybe pinch of salt, squeeze some lemon for some electrolytes and some nutrients, vitamins, and then it's a wild meat. So he said, so he'll do some eggs fried in some duck fat, or he'll do steak and eggs, or he'll do, in some places they have, he says, local shrimp, right? So he's basically doing a fatty protein, fish, wild meat, or eggs, a local fruit, and nuts or an avocado. That's a simple framework. So, and that's it. So if that's the one thing you could eat for breakfast, and another thing you got to keep in mind is, okay, so I just stated that fact to you, that this high-level strength coach is suggesting that that your breakfast includes these three things, but it doesn't matter what I say. You have to test this out for yourself, right? Because you gotta start to develop an awareness of your own body, right? Because I could tell you whatever, and if you don't feel great, or if you feel like your performance is slagging, and you've tested out, you've tested out eating. Let's say you test out this meat, eggs, and nuts, and local fruit, and you just feel crummy. You got to switch it up. Some people feel tremendous on all meat diet. Some people feel, excellent on an all fruit diet. So you kind of have to test over time so that, it's not like, you don't want to be in the State Cup Championship and ask yourself, well, what should I eat before the game? You know what I mean? It's like you got to be aware of what you're putting into your body, because unless you're a freak of nature, it's going to start to matter and add up. So here are some things that I'll say to myself in regards to my own food, diet, and eating. I try to eat my meals from liquid to solid. So let's talk about breakfast, for example. And that example I just gave. Let's say you have a tea or coffee, a smoothie, meat and eggs, and local fruit and nuts. All go coffee, smoothie, local fruit, nuts, then eggs and meat. Right? So most liquid to most solid. And I just feel like it just makes sense, practically speaking, and I just feel like I digest better. Because I don't know about you, if you've ever eaten something and then tried to drink liquid, I just feel like there's a conflict of interest in your stomach, and that doesn't feel good, and it doesn't look good in due time, right, in the future. So that's something that I'm mindful of. The second thing I'm mindful of is, there's a quote that goes, "The man who takes 99 steps after he eats lives to 100. Right? I don't know if you've ever had a meal and felt tired or felt sluggish, but I just noticed that whenever I eat, if I'm active after, lap around the block, using the kick trainer, using an RMT rope, juggling, one push-up, one pull-up, one sit-up, it makes me feel better. So if you could get into the practice of moving around, I'll literally say the words out loud. The man who takes 100 steps after he eats, or 99 steps after he eats, lives to 100. So that's another thing to keep in mind. There's also another quote that goes, 3, 2, 1. 3 hours before bedtime, don't eat. 2 hours before bedtime, don't drink. 1 hour before bedtime, no phone. 3, 2, 1. Food, drink, phones. Lastly, I would say no caffeine past noon. Right? They say caffeine's got a half-life of 12 hours, which means a 100 milligram cup of coffee at noon. By the time it's midnight, you still have 50 milligrams of caffeine coursing through your blood. And sleep is super important, so you really want to not sabotage yourself by ripping Red Bull or coffee, Starbucks freaking espressos late into the night, ripping Coca-Cola late into the night. It's just not going to set you up for success. Something else that really helped me think about eating and diet is a box of bananas, right? Because what you do is you buy a box of bananas at Whole Foods. You could get a case discount, which means you get a 40-pound box of bananas for like $20. You let them ripen, and then you freeze them all. This way, you always know that you got a banana in the freezer waiting for you to make a smoothie. What that does, it unlocks your creativity, because instead of thinking about every morning, you spend so much time devoted to, okay, what am I going to eat for breakfast? It's already decided. You wake up, boom, pull the banana, hydrate, right? You wake up, hydration, sunlight, movement, and then it's pull the banana from the freezer, smoothie, maybe some cocoa powder, maybe scoop of protein, you could throw some nuts, some other fruit in there, pinch of salt, olive oil, cinnamon, cayenne pepper, whatever. And that's it. So by just doing that, it doesn't allow you to make excuses to say, oh, well, I performed poorly because I didn't have a great breakfast, or I didn't do great on my test because, I had a poor, it just removes thinking and an excuse from your life to say, well, I didn't perform because this. So just a box of bananas, 40 pounds of bananas will last you, months. It's like, I want to say 100 plus bananas. That's like 3 months worth of bananas for $22 at Whole Foods. So, that's something that really changed my life in a very weird way for the better. And that's it. That's like 27 years of thinking about diet in 9 minutes. Oh, and last thing that just came to mind. 2 books talked about not eating proteins and carbohydrates at the same time. So Tom Brady's book, and also this book called the Tao Te Ching. So for example, you can have fruit and vegetables with meat, or you can have fruit and vegetables with carbohydrates, right? So rice or pasta. But the book talked about not eating meat and pasta at the same time, right? So it would not encourage meat and potatoes or a sandwich. And you think, well, I love sandwiches. So you're telling me I can't eat a sandwich? Well, depends how the sandwich is made. If you make the bun, if you have a lettuce bun bottom, lettuce bun top, at work I'll do a lettuce, tomato, onion, top of a bun, lettuce, tomato, onion, bottom of a bun, slice of grilled chicken, buffalo blue cheese, and that'll be my LTO sandwich, right? Just as long as you're avoiding the meat and the bread at the same time, or meat and rice, or meat and pasta. And the example was in the book, nature didn't invent a sandwich. And you could say, well, screw you, soccer chef, I'm going to have my sandwich. It's like, well, you can, but if it's going to be one little thing, it's like if it's just one choice that makes you a little bit better than the competition, it's like little things add up. So if it's just the day before game and you could avoid eating the sandwich, mom, dad says, okay, I'm going to go to the pizzeria to pick up some subs or, pick up something from the pizzeria. They say, what do you want? Just by saying, okay, I'm going to get a salad, get a nice Caesar salad with some grilled chicken, and, maybe you do a slice, but you try to, Tom Brady says that if he's offered a selection of poor food choices, he'll eat the most healthiest one, as much of it as possible, to fill himself up so that he eats less of the other poor choices, right? So he eats most of the good one as much as he can, and then maybe he'll do a little dessert, or he'll do a slice of pizza. And that Tom Brady, he says, he treats his body as if he's sick all the time. And that's a quote I really like. Or treat your body as if you're sick, even though you're feeling great. And that's how you should kind of live your life. So hopefully this helps. Yeah, reach out with any questions. All right.